Welcome back to NEMO Fishing 2018, putting some Limblines out on the Salt River this time. And I'm trying to catch some bait with a little beetle spin and keep catching these fun little smallmouth, but I can't cut up smallmouth to use them for bait. Not only is it illegal, I just can't cut up a smallmouth for anything. So thankfully I had some frozen bluegill to use. You'll notice my Limline has a laminated tag with all my information on it and a pool noodle. The line run through the pool noodle so that it floats up and down and I can see it from the main stream of the river as I paddle by. A little bit easier to pick out. Beautiful evening there under the bridge by Highway 61 on the Salt River. Unfortunately, I never did catch any good bait fish. I do snag a little channel catfish, and I'm deciding whether or not to actually use it. I don't know if catfish, well, I imagine catfish will eat just about anything that's dead, but still. So I gave it a shot. I cut it up. He's trying to escape. Actually, he got the last laugh. When I was cutting him up, he spined me with a fin, and his dorsal fin in my hand, and man, that hurt. I've never had that happen before. Anyway, heading back to the input site for the next day. The next morning, and lo and behold, I got a snapping turtle. Let me go, let me go. And I do indeed let him go, cut him out of there so he can go frolic. And line number 2 is empty. Line number 3, let's see if there's anything on line number 3. You can see where this is going. I was actually talking to a fellow angler, and he was pretty confident that the larger catfish, blue cat, flathead cats, had already moved on to a spawn. And in fact, the rest of the fish, no smallmouth, no anything was biting that day. So later on that afternoon, I did some topwater fishing at a local lake, and post-spawn, and the males are hanging out right on the edge of the bank by the weeds, and man, you can catch the heck out of them this year, and it's fun. Of course, if you were doing a tournament or something, you want to catch bigger fish. You want to try to catch the bigger females suspending out in the secondary points, things like that, out in the deeper structure. But for just having a good time on the afternoon, this is some good fishing. Here's a Berkeley bait shad flavored juice I'm putting on my topwater. That topwater is a heading bait, the dying flutter, and man, it is fantastic topwater action. You can use it both as a buzz bait or as a prop bait or a popper, and it will drive bass nuts. Blows up on it, and I miss it. I should have waited to feel the weight of the strike, but I was a little bit premature. But the good thing about these hungry post-spawn males on the bank is they will bite them. They will bite repeatedly. And I'm just dragging and slowly sputtering this thing along, jerking him a little bit, almost like walking the dog. Bam, there he is again. Actually foul hooked this bass, and when you foul hook a bass with a lure that has treble hooks on it, you got to be really careful especially these spunky little bass. They will flop around and drive one of those hooks into your fingers or hand, and that is painful. See you later, little guy. On the other side of the lake now, still tossing that topwater. Just twitching it a little as I pull it along. And there it is. Reel, Justin, reel. This is a pretty good fish if I remember. It's fun fishing. Lip 'em. They weren't just nipping at it, they were tackling that top water. Beautiful bass. Thanks for playing along. Go back, tell your friends. Anybody looking? Yeah, actually I have permission to fish that lake. I was just acting stupid. You gotta entertain yourself. Here comes, boom, right there on the edge. Fishing with 8-pound test, and these little bass are a pound, pound and a half, 2 pound at the most. You can just horse them up out of the weeds and pull them over the top of the weeds. Now, if they get bound up in the weeds, or if you get a bigger fish that's bound up in the weeds, you might need to be careful. Blew up on it, missed it. I just let it sit there, twitch it a little bit, pull it, let it sit there, be patient. Bam, there he is. I love topwater fishing. Now along the other side of the lake, in a cove, on this cast you'll see a fish strike at the line closer to the bank. So I keep walking that bait, there it is. I keep walking that bait up there, slowly just kind of dragging them along. Then I get them going, bam, there it is. Feel the weight of that strike, then pull the trigger. Set the hook, horse them up over those weeds. Aha! Ended up catching about a dozen in an hour or so, hour and a half, 2 hours. Popping it like a popper. Get their attention and start slowly wheeling it in, just like a buzzbait. Sometimes you just pause, stop it right there on the edge. Little action, boom, there he is. I'll take a bite out of that. I ain't gonna pass up a good meal, says Mr. Bass. Now I cast on the other far bank. Just let it sit there. Oh, something's nipping at it. I can see it. Right there. One more. Wait for it. Wait for it. Boom! There it goes. This ended up being the biggest fish. Wasn't a monster by any stretch of the imagination. But on topwater, it sure is fun. I'll catch those feisty little post-spawn males all afternoon. Thanks for watching NEMO Fishing. Go out there and catch a few.